All right, so I've gotten one side laid out pretty much where I'm going to want all my panels on one side of the roof, and now I have to transfer it over to the other side of the roof. And how I do that is I take a paint stick, and of course I use both hands when I'm doing it, but I'll mark it on my paint stick, and then I'll walk over to the other side and measure it off. That way they're pretty much the same pattern on both sides, pretty much the same size on both sides, and it's a easy and quick way to get your measurement. Now I use a Stabilo that's water soluble, so a little bit of spit will take that mark off, so I don't paint over it, because once you paint over it, it's there forever. So now I'm going to come over here and I'm going to transfer that design over to this side, and then I'll be right back. All right, so now I've got the top laid out to where all the panels are going to go. I've got the other side now matched up and where the panels are going to go. I'm still not sure what I'm going to do with this visor yet. I don't know if I'm going to run all the colors down on top of it, or the background color here, it's going to be mainly silvers and grays and black. So I'm kind of thinking of running that down into the visor and avoid putting all the candy brandywine, cobalt blue, whatever else onto the visor. I think, I'm not sure if it's going to be too much. But the hood is black. Down in here, it'll go into the grays on the background of the roof, and then the colors up here in the other panels. I'm really not sure. So I'm going to save it. I'm going to save it and not rush it. I'll decide when the time comes. But the next step is to mask off all the background, which is going to be the last color sprayed. So that gets masked off. And then the next color that's second to last gets masked off. The first color gets left open, and then the third color will be masked off. And as I paint them, I will paint the first color, unmask the second color, spray it, unmask the third color and spray it, then mask off everything that I sprayed and deal with the background color, which will be all of this. So let me get this thing masked off, and I will be right back. Okay, so that's the all the background is masked off, and that will be the last that's painted. Next thing I'll do is I will mask off this first, or this not first, but this one color here, this second color over here, and this third one out here on the side. So I'll mask them off with paper, and then I'll paint this center one, which is actually going to be the first one, and then I'll paint that, and then I'll mask it, and I'll tear the paper back from this second one, and I'll paint it, and then I'll tear the paper back from this, and I'll paint it. And when I do that, the first one will get remasked, the second one will get remasked, so it's protected, and then I'll paint this one right here. Eventually, I will mask off all the colored panels that I've just painted, and I will address what's underneath this tape, which will be the last. Okay, so simple enough. And don't forget, you know, you guys could do this right in your garage at home. I'm in my garage, backyard of my house. Also too, rule of thumb is, remember, this is how I do it. Other painters might do it a different way, but this is how I do it. This is what's easiest for me. This is how I know to do it. But other guys might have better ways of doing it. Maybe not so much better ways of doing it. I don't know. I do what I know how to do. And when I'm explaining to you how I do something, it's because it works for me. And I want it to work for you. So let me start masking off the panels to be painted, and I'll be back. All right, so now all the panels are masked off, leaving the first panel to be painted wide open. And the guy that owns this car mentioned that he wanted some endless lines, which is what those are, on the car somewhere. So I decided to do them down the center of that panel. He also mentioned he wants a lace, which I have the lace taped over off of that side, which also has the endless lines put on it first. And then I'll lay the piece of lace on top of this one also. But yeah, and I'm gonna try to keep the colors kind of dark, because this being a black car, he wants the colors, but he doesn't want them super bright. So I'm going to spray over this lace with some black, and that's going to darken up that panel. And then I'll peel that lace off, and I'll start adding the color. And when I'm done, I will pull the tape off of that endless line, leaving a metal flake silver line. If that sounds confusing, you'll figure it out when I unmask this thing, and you'll see it. All right, let me get going. Okay, so now the both pieces of the lace are taped down over the panel where I want lace, and I'm going to spray through this with a black, because I want to try to keep a lot of these colors dark candies. So I'm going to use some black in this way. I usually don't do that. Usually they're very bright, but I think with this black car, we're going to keep everything kind of on a darker side. Important thing to know about when you do the lace, you want the lace kind of taut, but you don't want it so tight that you're stretching the design and distorting the design. So nice and flat, taut at the edges if you can. And when you paint this, always paint this lace at a 90-degree angle, which means straight down, if you can get away with it, straight down, and not at a 45, because that's just going to blow paint up under the lace, and you don't want that. You want to try to save as much of this pattern and stuff as you can. So you want to spray straight 90% down. Just like that. All right. All right. Well, let me get that going, and I'll be back. Okay. Well, there is the black sprayed over the lace pattern. All right. Now, it's not a solid black. All I did was I did a tinted black, because I want to still be able to read the metal flake through the actually darker color. Once I get the candy gold and tangerine, and then fog it with the candy red, it appeared to be dark, but it's you know, I could have just gone black, but I just wasn't feeling it. What I did was I took some of this full base binder again, added it about 50% with some Nason black, and then I you know, reduced it with some medium reducer, and just to get it tinted. I could go darker with more coats, but I'll start losing the metal flake underneath the black, so I still want it to sparkle under there. It would be totally up to the painter if he wants to go black or a tinted black like this. I prefer this. So let's spray the next color on there. All right, so there's that first panel sprayed out. As you can see, I still have the tape where the endless lines are. I'm going to pull that out next, and those will remain silver metal flake. And what I did here was I sprayed some black, not black, just enough to tint it so you can see the lace. Then I painted the whole panel candy pagan gold, and then I crept up with some candy tangerine this way down, and then I edged it with some candy apple red. So that's the first panel. Next is to peel off the tape here. Let's see. And as you can see, that is going to leave a silver line of endless line. So it's a little hard to do it while holding the phone. So I'm going to do it, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so there it is with the endless line tape pulled off. And so I can get it down, pretty much down the center of the panel. Before I laid this out, I measured from here to here, and then from there to there, and then ran a piece of tape straight across, and then I just kept in within that tape. So it's pretty much in the center on both sides. So now I'm going to pull the other tape off the other panel. Then I'm going to come back, and I'm going to put a couple of coats of inner coat clear or binder just to protect this while I do the next color that's underneath this tape. So let me do that, and then we'll be back. Okay, so I'm came over here to pull this side off, and I thought I should mention, especially to the guys, that this is the first time they're trying it, or, you know, guys that maybe have done this a few times and had problems. When you're removing this tape, whether it's you know, endless line or a flame job or a graphic, when you're removing it, always try to pull the tape back onto itself. Never like this. Never jerk the tape. You know, just take your time getting it off, because the whole idea is you want a nice clean edge when you're done. And you know, the tape, if you not careful, you could pull off some of the paint with it, and that's not what you're wanting to do. So yeah, pull the tape back onto itself and take your time doing it, because it'll save you a lot of grief at the end of this, trying to clean up edges and all that silliness. So, all right, let me finish doing this, and I'll be back. All right, so that's it with a couple of coats of inner coat clear or binder, just to protect it while I do the next color, which is unmasked now. So this is going to be candy brandywine, and then I'll put a darker fade, maybe using some purple or some cobalt blue, something just to do a shadow all the way around the panel. But first I have to tape and mask this piece off, and I'll do that, and then we'll get some color on it, and I'll bring you back.